So what brought me into ARGs? Well, to tell you the truth, it really comes down to Ready Player One. I read the book in 2011 and I loved the idea of the hunt. I had heard about such things floating around on the internet and I'd never participated in one, but as soon as I read the book I knew I was hooked and really wanted to make one, as I just absolutely love making games. How long do I expect the game to go? Good question. I would say I expect the game to go probably around a month. It's going to be released in 4 phases, and during those 4 phases teams will compete for level prizes. There'll be a level prize at the end of the first phase, which will be $50, and then the stakes get a little higher when the next 2 levels come out, and it will be a $75 prize. And then when the next 2 levels come out, it'll be a $100 prize. And then when the final 2 levels come out, that's when you get to the grand prize. And the grand prize right now is like $500-$600, and God only knows how big it can get. I mean, the more people join, the more players we have involved, the more money that will get put into the jackpot, and it's anyone's game at that point. You can make a pretty good pile of cash playing this game. So how have I ensured protection against cheating? I would say probably the best way for me to protect against cheating is the fact that I know the game. I know it inside and out, upside down and backwards. I know how every hint works, where every puzzle piece is, and if people get pieces either too quickly or whatever, then I intend to have a system in place where they have to answer some questions about the game and how they solved some puzzles to assure that they didn't cheat. Simply put, there'll be a little test at the end if I suspect any foul play is involved. I've tried really hard to keep things safe and secure and whatever, and I have learned through many people, all you that have sent me comments, thank you very much, about all the different ways that you can hack things on the internet. I have learned more in the past 2 weeks about hacking websites than I probably have, in the past 20 years. It's amazing how resourceful people are and how they can really get where they want to go regardless of what you put up there. It's frightening. So really it comes down to not so much the hacking but the actual puzzle solving, because even if you find the puzzles super quick, they're going to be challenging. And so I encourage people to really follow the spirit of the game rather than just trying to get to the finish line, which you can't even win unless you've solved a majority of the puzzles. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Shawn Harris. I've lived here in Colorado for about 22 years. I've kind of had a whole slew of jobs. I have a master's in synthetic organic chemistry. I was going to be a drug guy for a while, and then really got turned off on that. So I did graphic design, and then I taught at the college level. And then I finally worked my way into the teaching system. And so I was a middle school teacher for 7 years, and now I'm the tech guy at an alternative high school. So it's really been a fun kind of road. Always pursuing things that make me interested, and I'm really kind of one of those people who follows my heart. So if something's just not working, I bail and find something else that is a nice challenging thing. My age is 45. I grew up, through the late 70s and the 80s. That really is my era. If you read the book, I believe the Anorak, the main guy, I think his birthday and my birthday are about a month apart. So I can totally identify with all the things that were in Ready Player One. That's my generation, all the things I grew up on. And all the things that have kind of made my personality what they are, whether it's the humor I have or the references I throw out. I do tend to kind of pull things from left field from way back when to really kind of make my life interesting. What do I geek out over? I would say that I geek out over sci-fi, huge into sci-fi stuff. I do like my sci-fi a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm a huge fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh man, what is it? There's another series of books that just came out that I'm super into. I'll have to put that up on the forum. They're awesome. They're like totally tongue-in-cheek, but great sci-fi nonetheless. Other than that, I love computer stuff. You know, I'm a little poor being a school teacher, so I don't have all the whiz-bang gadgets that a man of my age probably deserves after a long working career. But nonetheless, you know, I get excited about all the new shiny things I can possibly lay my hands on. My history with ARGs, not too much. I'll be totally honest. I know about them. I've gotten into the field of gamification over the past couple of years, which if you're not into it, you should get into it. It's an awesome way to apply games and the theory of games to just about anything. And so, to my way of thinking, you know, I've always been huge into games. It's a way to take that fun and apply it outside of your typical situation. So I've used it in some of the stuff I do around school. You can use it in education. You can use it in business. So if you're looking for a career and you really like playing games, I would highly suggest gamification. There are a couple great books on the subject, and it's a really great way to make some inroads into some great careers that are happening right now, where you get to make games and get paid a lot more than me. What is the solution to my game? Well, I can't tell you that. It's kind of challenging, and it involves a picture. And while a picture is worth 1,000 words, I don't have 1,000 words, so you're just going to have to find the picture. Sorry. Let's see, Star Trek or Star Wars? Jesus Lord. I'm going to be one of those really freaking annoying people that says both. I love Star Trek. New Generation was right there where I'm at. Star Wars, of course I love Star Wars. I had all the figures growing up. I've watched all the movies. You know, how can you not like Star Wars? I would personally say, you know, Star Trek has gone off the rails for me a little bit, but you know, I still have a special place in my heart. So yeah, I'm gonna go with both. Day job. So my day job, as I mentioned, is a tech guy at an alternative high school. I'm the one who goes around, like when you can't log in, or when your printer doesn't work, or teachers get all flummoxed by, you know, showing a movie or something like that. I step in and save the day. Like, that's my job. So I love working with teachers. I love working with students, and I especially love working with alternative students. You know, I like working with the kid who's kind of the square peg in the round hole. Doesn't really fit into your traditional high school. I think those are the really interesting people, the people who will make a difference in this world because they see things differently. And so I'm really excited to work with that population. Some people are not happy about the hint situation. How will I defend against the pay to win? Well, here's the thing. Is my game is free to play for anyone. All right? I'm making it totally 100% free unless there's something that comes up that's out of my control. I don't want anyone to have to pay to play. You know, if it's the kind of thing that you enjoy, go for it. You know, play the game, enjoy the puzzles, enjoy all the things that go with this kind of game. The paying part is simply for joining the jackpot. All right? And so for me, I kind of feel that, you know, if you want to join the jackpot, it's worth putting in the money. I mean, if you go to play cards, you know, you ante up, and that's basically what my game's all about. Yes, you can pay for hints in the game as well, but I think you'll find that since the whole hint part and the beginning part that is in the app that's coming out for mobile phones is only a small portion of the game. Like, granted, yes, you could fly through that part, but the reality is, you know, it'll help you get through that part, but there are so many parts that the hints are really only a small portion of the game. And honestly, all the people I've corresponded with leading up to this game, I kind of have a feeling that a lot of you are not going to need the hints. You guys are really brilliant. The way you've hacked my website time and time again, I really have no doubt that you probably won't need the hints. And I will tell you, there are a couple levels that have no hints. So to win the game, you can't depend on buying your way through it. There are a couple levels that have no hints available. And so for that reason, I think the hints are a way to kind of move people through the game so that they don't get hung up, in the very beginning stages. But at the end of the day, it really is going to come down to how smart you are, how resourceful you are, how good the hive mind is of the team you're working with. Those are the kind of things that are going to make you be able to win the game. Whether you paid $1 or $2 for a hint, it is, at the end of the day, probably not going to help you a whole bunch. It'll help you. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason that I'm making people pay for them. But in the grand scope of things, it's more of a marathon than a sprint. Because believe me, it's folds upon folds upon folds of puzzles. So I think you'll find that you can't buy your way through this game in any way, shape, or form. Will there be a story to this game? Well, the story is simply this. It is my experience, my personal life, going to my grandfather's house to set up his VCR. My grandfather, like so many old people, really struggled with technology, and he couldn't set the time on his VCR to save his life. And time again, something would happen, whether the power would go out or it would get unplugged or he would hit a button, God only knows. Basically, he would call me desperate to set the time on his VCR so he could record shows. So this game story is really my story in terms of going through that on a monthly basis, shall we say. Beyond that, each of the little parts in that revolve around either elements of things I've experienced, or ideas that I came across that I thought were really, really cool. I've had a long time to put this game together, so I'm really looking forward to, really making people work for it. 13 years. Yes, 13 years. I have worked on this game for 13 years. It started out as a simple puzzle game. I was working with a friend of mine, and we had a little iPhone app company, and we were working on one game, and I was like, I really want to make a puzzle game revolving around this experience in my life. And so my partner wasn't interested. Eventually, we kind of set our own paths and went our own ways. And so over the time, as things kind of come up or I get ideas, that's where I get that's where I got the ideas for all the puzzles. Technology has definitely changed. Stupid freaking Google keeps ruining my life. So there are a couple puzzles I made, back in the early times, and then maybe about a month or two ago, I was going back through to make sure everything was up to date, and wow, you can Google that now, or oh, that's indexed now. It gives the answer away right off the bat. So Google has definitely kind of made my life hell when it comes to this game. It's just kind of too good. So I'm really hoping, knock on wood, that I can make it so that you can't just Google every freaking answer. Other inspirations than Ready Player One. So I would definitely say, my life and growing up at the same time period as Ready Player One and a lot of the same pop culture and things like that. I also involved a lot of the early 90s and some of the beginning of the web, that kind of stuff. So for me, I was right there in college when the web came around. I used the first Mosaic browser, and I, was using email on a dumb terminal that was served by, a huge supercomputer on a green glowing phosphorescent screen. I've seen the whole web basically evolve from nothing. And it's been really kind of a fun journey that I've been on with it. Part of my game also revolves around that. The introduction of the web and kind of what it was back in the day. It kind of sucked back then, but I think it had some certain, kind of do-it-yourself charm. And so I hope to capture a lot of that in this game as well, which was not in Ready Player One. Have I played other ARGs like Grail Diary or Alum Oasis? I haven't. I have sadly dedicated all my time to this game, and when I'm not working on the game, then I also have two small kids that are 8 and 6. So if I'm not busy with my game, then I'm busy with them. So between job and family and game, it really leaves so little time for me to do anything else. So I apologize. I have been in contact with the people who started the Grail, and it sounds like an awesome game, and hopefully we may actually be able to do some kind of cooperative thing down the line. But at this point, I really have been focused forever on this freaking game, Grandpa's VCR. Did I garner feedback from their creators as a test balloon before I launched mine? I did not get any feedback from other ARG creators, mostly because I didn't know any of them. I'm relatively new to the field, so for that reason, I have not contacted them before doing this. I'm kind of just rolling the dice and hoping it'll be awesome. There's a great story about the Chicago's World Fair where throughout the whole fair, people saw this huge monstrous thing being erected. They put up a big, huge structure, and then they started loading railroad cars on it, one after another after another. And these railroad cars were attached to the superstructure, and it was the most crazy invention ever imagined at the time. And it turned out to be a Ferris wheel. And the reason I tell you this is that they did no testing. They did no safety checks or anything. They just put it together, rolled the dice, and hoped for the best, and that railroad cars of people didn't splash the ground in huge, explosions of blood and gore. And it worked, and everyone loved it. And I'm kind of taking that same method with my game, is I'm really hoping that no one crashes to the ground and explodes in a big puddle of gore. Will free players be eligible for the grand prize? No, free players will not be eligible for the grand prize. Simply because it's a community pot. It's not something that I am putting out there. If I had $500 to just give away to someone, then free players, I have no problem with that. But I actually raised all the money for the jackpot through the crowdfunding, so none of that money is mine. And I think it would be a disservice to all the people who put in money to that jackpot to give it to someone who didn't even contribute a very, very minor amount. So in the sense of fairness to the community and the community that built that pot, that's why free players won't be able to win. It really comes down to, if you're going to put money in, then you deserve the opportunity to win it. You can't sit down at a blackjack table in Vegas and not put something on the table and expect to walk away with thousands of dollars of the casino's money. It's just that's just not the way it works. You got to pay to play, and in this case, you can still play, but you won't get paid. Levels are released on a timer, and the goal for players is to keep up so that the next puzzle begins, they can jump right in. So the way I'm releasing these are in segments, so that even though if you're not the first person to finish and you're not, going to win that immediate prize, then you still have the opportunity to really work through all the puzzles, and you can really take your time and have the joy of stumbling upon that one answer that's eluded you for maybe hours or days or months. Well, not months, the game's not going that long, but nonetheless, it gives all the people time to kind of catch up, to be ready for the next leg. Because I don't want it to just be, a race to the finish. I mean, obviously that's a component when the final levels are released, but beyond that, it really needs to be a fun endeavor, something that you can do with your friends or, people that you've met online or, friends that you have around town or whatever. And you'll find that, once that $50 prize or $75 prize has been won, you can really focus on getting into the nitty-gritty of this game. And that's really part of the whole entertainment factor that I'm trying to bring in this game. Will there be a scoring system for if you're better or faster? Simple answer is no. Sorry. I did have one, made, and I did play around with the idea, and I really was struggling with the idea of how to make it fair for a scoring system with all the other things that I had added in. So, the fact that you can buy hints and you can get codes for early access as part of the, Indiegogo campaign, stuff like that. Like, if I build a scoring system for fastest, then all of a sudden, these people that paid in have this automatic advantage over everyone else. And I didn't want that to really taint the game. I'm really hoping that people will see that it's an advantage, but one that is tempered by the difficulty of the puzzles and all the, permutations that go on within. So I didn't put a scoring faction in there. However, I am linking it up to a Twitter account, and as people make progress in the game, you will be able to see in real time, oh, they've gotten to this place, or oh, they've reached that goal, or oh, they've finished this level. So while there isn't a number assigned to how fast you are, you will get recognition and it will be showing up on a Twitter stream. So you can keep your eyes on that to kind of see where the competition lies. And at the end of the day, it's a race. You have to be both smart and fast and win the grand prize. So I didn't want to complicate it too much. I really wanted people to be able to focus on the certain levels along the way, and then when it came down to it, to just haul ass and really, do their best. And whoever wins, congratulations. I'm very happy you have. So anyway, once again, I'm Shawn Harris. I'm the creator of Grandpa's VCR, and I hope that this little interview has opened up some questions, answered some questions, maybe opened up some other questions for you. And you can feel free to always post them to me in the forum. The game will have a forum on the website, and I will do my best to answer questions in a timely fashion. As I've mentioned, my time is a little stretched thin by all the craziness I have going on, but I really try to reach out to the people like yourself that is playing the game, because you're the one who really counts here. Like, I've done my part. So I really want to make sure that you have the most fun you can through my crazy 13-year-old ride through the internet. All right? Well, have a good time, and game on!